Good morning, folks. My bike chair's extra squeaky this morning. Hopefully the noise cancellation keeps most of it out for y'all. Need to figure out greasing or whatever it and try and stop that. It's real annoying. Good morning, good morning. Everyone survived another weekend, I hope. I think I want to play with promo Poliwag to start. I think I want to do it in this. Double the rare candy, double the fun. Assuredly this is fine, yes? Assuredly. Let's do it. Let's give it a go. I just survived my first beach vacation with 2 toddlers. I took 2 days off to recuperate. So, yo, there's a very important distinction. You didn't take a beach vacation. You took a family trip to the beach. Which is fine and good. Family trips are fun, but they're not vacations. Vacations I get to sleep on. Family trips you chase children around on and make sure they have a good time. It's a very important and clear distinction. Alright, I would like a Mantike, please. Never a Mantike. Never a Mantike. It's fine. We're going to have fighting energy underneath this. We're going to candy into a Garchomp. It's going to be glorious. Glorious Garchomp. I'm going to chomp like I've never chomped before. So we have the little tyke. And the X speed. And I'm gonna do it. I believe. There's water energy on top of our deck here, though, so we can't actually attack with Chomperson on 2, unfortunately. That's fine. He can hopefully help us churn into a... Our ideal prize mapping here is 1-1-2, so we can give up the Mantike, we can move the Chomp in, and then we can finish on the Poliwrath EX. So ideally, we'll shear into a Poliwag next turn and get that going. Or we could just hit it all natural. Go ahead and candy this out just so it's there. Get a little splashy toss on this one. If only we could reckless shear our energy zone. Yep. Thoxor, thank you for the 47 months. I appreciate the almost 4 years. Welcome back. Ben, thank you for the over 5 years of support. You know, it's really easy to look at a game like this and be like, well, why not just only play fighting energy? And the answer is, like, you're just not always going to have the Mantike to start. The idea is some amount of the time. I've seen a lot of people approach the deck building theory of, well, you make your deck more consistent if you only play one energy in the energy zone. And it's not that your deck becomes more consistent when you do that, so much as it just puts the variance into a different spot, I think is the way you want to frame/think about it. It's not that you have less variance, it's just that your RNG is in a different place, so to speak. Instead of a 50-50 in your energy zone, you'd be betting on variance for what's the word I'm searching for? You'd be betting on variance for whether or not your Mantike shows up. They don't have a candy themselves here. Or frog. We're actually in a pretty good spot here, yeah. They really need to pull Poliwrath up to the front and hit it this turn. They need Candy, Frog, Cyrus, which they're through 14 cards, but that is 3 cards they need. Yeah, just hitting Chomp here ain't it for them, because this Poliwrath's about to hit for 140, right? So we were a little bit clunky to start, but we get to go ahead and start hitting them real hard here. I don't think I'm shearing the Gibble. I think there's a world where I want an extra copy of that. Thank you for all the support this morning. Those direct bits, prime subs, and paid subs are a big part of why I'm able to do what I do as a job. Around the bend, thank you for the almost 2 years. And Time Lord, 80 months. Over 6.5 years. It's a very long time. It's a lot of different games here. Thanks for keeping me around through it all. Alright, they found their missing piece, but it is too little too late. They are cooked by our Poliwrath. Good start for us. Beat the best deck in the format. We had a less than ideal start and beat the best deck in the format. I'm playing Magby Flareon this season. Yeah, deck list is reasonable. Good aggressive starts. So our promo Poliwag here, surprise attacked us 40 for 1 in a coin flip. And obviously my Poliwags always hit. Some of you at home might be unlucky, but I am. This is basically a blue Farfetch that evolves. If you're a professional. Are we playing around red card and Mars? Probably. I could theoretically research into exactly Mantike plus our 1x speed, but the odds of that happening are so low. As someone who is also the proud owner of a Morty full art, I hate to break it to you, but that card's not playable. Got ourselves a dual energy mirror match. Unfortunately for us, they have both colors of babies that make energy. No fighting energy, baby. Very, very sad. I'm just gonna take a pop shot at this Pichu. Unlucky. Poor little Poliwag surprised itself. I suppose there's a world where I was supposed to X speed into the Mantike and then put a fighting energy on the Gibble, so if I draw rare candy for it, but I kind of want, I kind of don't want my Garchomp up when their Dragonite comes to the front initially. I think is accurate. They're down to 1 card in hand. I'm gonna go ahead and burn this X speed, I think, and put the Poliwag back up. I'm still gonna put the water energy on the Gibble, because I have Chomp in hand and I have a fighting on the zone here. So this way, if we top deck a piece of candy, I can move into the Garchomp, attack with it. Opponent shuffling their babies here so they can get attackable energy on both their Dratini. That's smart. Get this Stork powered up. We're just kind of staying the course here. We got 2 candies and one Gabite in our deck to work on evolutions for. Now, one upside here is even if our opponent gets set up before we do, is all of our Pokemon are currently just 1-pointers. So their Dragonite, we're actually more afraid of Baby Dragonite than we are EX Dragonite, sitting from the position we're in. A lot of these decks do play 1 baby, so it's possible that comes out to play. I think I am simply powering up the other one of these. And get our next knockout here. Alright, so our deck right now is 2 research, 2 candies, a Gabite. Yeah, unfortunately they have the Dragonite we're afraid of. And they killed the Gibble with the damage on it. That's super unlucky. This is probably too little too late. There's not a combination of... I guess they could put all the damage on a single thing. And we could get out of it, technically. No, because I need 2 hits here, yeah. It's too little too late. Kayuden, thank you for the over 2.5 years. Welcome back. Good morning, good morning. We needed our evolution sooner, or we needed our Poliwag coin flips to go our way, so we could put more pressure on them. If we'd have hit for our 40s, I think we would have been okay, despite missing our evolutions for so long. They wouldn't have had nearly as much setup time. Going second. I think we lead the Poliwag while going second. It can get a little frisky with its surprise attack. It's amusing. Surprise attack and Gnaw both have the same expected value for damage. You're 40 half of the time versus 20 all of the time, but the burst from surprise attack gives it some potential upside that Gnaw simply does not have. You know, it's interesting to me, and I genuinely wasn't expecting this given the framing of this game, because there's so many people that talk about how, you know, this is such a casual game or whatever. I think Pokemon Pocket is the most sweaty post-ladder metagame I've ever played in any card game. Like, especially after they made it so you can't fall out of Masterball. Like, compared to, like, Magic Arena and Marvel Snap and other games that I play, like, usually in those other games, people, like, make it to Masterball equivalent, and then, like, they play more casual decks, so they, like, explore things for fun. And in this game, it's largely just people still sweating real hard on the best decks. In my anecdotal experience. It's obviously very anecdotal. Pivot this out. We're going to give him a KO on the Mantike. Our Splashy Toss back onto the Poliwag here, and then we're hoping to spike a rare candy here off the top, obviously, so Poliwrath can get in there. And then we're going to be dead to a Cyrus here. I enjoy Pocket, but the rate of new cards made me take a break. So many new cards. It's very strange to me. I just like... I totally understand that encourage people taking breaks if they're not having fun, but it's deeply strange to me when I hear people say, I'm not playing this game because the game I enjoy gave me too much content. Like, I don't understand that perspective. It's very different than what I want out of the games that I play. Like, more power to you, find your joy, gamer. But, like, that's, for reference, like, people complain about that in Marvel Snap, too. And Marvel Snap only releases, like, 11... Like, for reference, Marvel Snap released 11 cards this month. And people lost their minds that there were 11 cards. Yeah, and maybe it's their people are just bad at framing what they mean, and what they actually mean is, I feel priced out of the game because of the amount of content that they're releasing, which that's very reasonable and valid, but that's different than the game's releasing too much stuff. Wait, when you say I'm backing out because there's too many cards, it's like, oh, the problem is the content, not the problem is the cost. I feel for you there. I genuinely think Pocket has the worst economy of any digital card game I've ever played. It's actually really interesting to me. It's really interesting to me that how positive the reception was to Pocket on release, given how bad the economy has ended up in practice. That's actually really a funny comment from Nars on the YouTube side. Pocket really only releases 15 to 20 playable cards per month. That's, you know, actually, we're a couple weeks in. That's an amusing thing to think about. Do they release a similar number of playable cards to Marvel Snap? I want to take a second. I want to look at the newest set. How many playable cards do we have in this set? That's a good way to put it. So if we look at this, like, I don't know, based on like tournament results and what you play against on the ladder, Jumpluff and Entei are not playable cards. Evo lines inflate that number. Yeah, to a degree, but like even if I'm gracious and count full Evo lines, it's really not that many in this latest expansion, right? Like I think Raichu, I think we'll count Raichu. He's more fringe, but he counts. Suicune definitely counts, so that's 2. I don't know. You could maybe say Poliwrath, maybe. Oh yeah, there was a baby in here, right? Yeah, Mantike is definitely playable, so that's 3. I'm not missing any of these other ones up here, right? It's like 3, 3.5, maybe 4 if we're being gracious. I think I'd count Altaria. Altaria's seen some reasonable fringe plays. That's like 4. Man, it's like, I don't know. Depending on how you slice it, it's actually less than double-digit playable cards, right? It's unironically, like it's actually less than double digit playable cards. People suggesting things like Latios and Latias and Fanfu, like again, those cards really aren't seeing any competitive play. They aren't. Like, yeah, I've looked over a lot of tournament lists. They're like not even spiking individual results. Why is it not playable? Because there's just no results with it. Like, think about what you've played against on the ladder if you've played the ladder. I can't remember, I don't think, have I ever played against this card in the ladder outside of like the first day? I don't think I played against it at all on the ladder. I think we played against it on the first day in the unranked queue. And it's no tournament results. It was like funny. Someone commented on one of my Pokemon Pocket videos that like the deck that the highlight of was a gimmick. And it was like, yeah, there's like 4 playable decks in this game and all the rest of them are gimmicks. And that's not inherently a bad thing. Like you could play off-meta gimmick decks and have a good time, but like you just need to understand like what the competitive balance looks like in a game like this and what your expectations are. Like, no, and this is true of my channel, and it's true of, you know, Mogwai and Godsley and Spraggles and literally every Pokemon Pocket content creator that's trying to post a different deck highlight most days of the week. Like, almost all of them are not good. They're almost all gimmicks or cute in some way, and you're getting a range of the highlights, and the lowlights are being left on the cutting room floor. You can get to Master Ball with Jumpluff and Entei. Absolutely. The way it's structured, you can get to Master Ball with a less than 50% win rate. In fact, I've done that in some seasons when it takes us a long time to get there. Less than 50% win rate. It doesn't mean they're good though. Like again, winning with bad cards doesn't make them good. Do you think they will make changes to the core gameplay here to make it more like the TCG? Absolutely not. I think Pokemon Pocket was explicitly designed to be a bite-sized version of Pokemon TCG, and I honestly think they did a good job of it. There's no reason they would ever make this game more like paper Pokemon. They wanted it to be distinct in a number of ways, and I think they did a good job accomplishing that. If you frame it in the way that there's not a lot of playable cards in every Pokemon Pocket set, the economy really ends up not being that bad. That's not remotely true. In fact, I would make the argument that there being so few playable cards in the average Pokemon Pocket set actually makes the economy markedly worse, because the lack of playable cards in the average Pokemon Pocket set means that the odds that you open something that's playable from the new set is really low. It actually leans into the #1 thing that makes the Pokemon Pocket economy bad, which isn't that it's terrible from a pure numbers perspective. The core problem with the Pokemon Pocket economy is that it's the highest variance digital card game economy you'll ever experience. If Pokemon Pocket's economy was like Marvel Snap, for example, where you can buy specifically just the cards you want and didn't have to engage with loot boxes, Pokemon Pocket's economy would be very reasonable because there aren't a lot of playable cards in every set. You could be like, okay, I'm just going to get the Suicune, and I'm going to get the Mantike and a handful of other playable cards, and that's great. But because you can't choose what you open, and it's 500 pack points, i.e. you have to open 100 freaking packs to get the specific cards you want, it makes the economy very brutal. Because again, it's not that Pocket's economy is generically bad, it's that it's the highest variance economy of any of these games. And that's the crux of the problem. It's not that it's generically bad, it's that it's incredibly high variance. Where is our fighting energy? Our energy is about as low variance as the Pocket economy, unfortunately. Devil's Advocate, how many of the new Snap cards are playable in the same way? Marvel Snap is the best balanced live service game I have ever played. We sat down and wrote out a list of decks in Marvel Snap that are reasonably playable the other day because I'm putting together a comprehensive video, and there's like 50 decks. Marvel Snap doesn't intentionally design bad cards. Their goal is to have every card in their game be playable, and they do balance passes twice a month to try and move their game closer to that goal. Which again is not to say that their game is perfect. Game design is hard and it's easy to miss. It's easy to make a mistake. But they iterate frequently, and that's the key to success. It's not that you need to never fail. It's that when you fail, you need to be willing to try and make a correction. So their game is the best balanced game I've ever played, not because their game designers are some kind of savants and Pokemon designers are bad. It's because their game designers have the freedom to be like, okay, we shot too high, we're going to pull it down. We shot too low, we're going to buff it up. And twice a month they do that. Woo! All right, come on. I need you to swing and miss, gamer. Oh baby, oh baby. Hit him with the knuckles. So Dark Card, thank you for the 10 months. I appreciate that. Kazun, yeah, I would totally take a viewer deck. Hit me up. I like everything so far. I just want more game modes in Pocket. Versus and lackluster solo match versus the AR, not enough. Give us more. You're genuinely, I would be absolutely floored if they ever gave you more to do in Pokemon Pocket. And like, I want to make it really clear because people like to say like, Jeff, you're being negative here because I'm talking about just like realities that don't sound nice. But like, I'm here playing Pocket because I genuinely enjoy it despite what I'm talking about here. Like, I'm just being honest and acknowledging the reality. But like, this is a game where 10 months later, I can't even import a deck list from text. Expecting them to implement entire new game modes is like so far beyond the scope of what you should expect from this application. Like, we're 10 months in without basic quality of life features. So like, if you're holding out like they're gonna give us entirely new game modes that are interesting and different, absolutely not. Would be floored. Would bet large amounts of money against it. Would it be nice? Absolutely. Would it be sweet? Could it be fun? Yes, I agree with you. It could be sweet and could be fun. But from just like a realistic perspective, I don't think that's a realistic thing to expect. Yeah, I actually think that if you're like what Rye Tiger said there on the Twitch side, I actually think that's more likely than new features is. I would bet we get a Switch 2 version or a Switch version in general of Pokemon Pocket before they added new features. I think if you're like, Jeff, what's a big feature Pocket doesn't have that you think could reasonably be on a horizon? I don't even know how soon that could be. Hopefully it's coming. But like, I would expect another platform in Switch being that platform to be something that we get. And then hopefully, fingers crossed, it would be a widescreen version to make streaming it better. All right, we're going to take a brief pause for the cause. Let some adverts roll. We're going to play some more Poliwrath Garchomp when we get back. Appreciate everybody hanging out. Don't go anywhere. If you're watching on the YouTube side, you're enjoying the off-meta decks and the discussion about card games and stuff in general, make sure you tap the like button. Is Snap expensive to get into if you're a new player today? So, Snap's expensive from the perspective of if you're like, Jeff, I want to own every card in the game ASAP. Is it going to cost me a lot of money? Yes, absolutely. To start from zero and get everything right away, it's going to cost you a small pile of money. However, Snap's economy is structured in a pretty reasonable way where they they group their cards by what they call series, so you're guaranteed to get specific ones in the first couple of weeks that you play, even free to play. And those cards are like the key tools and tech cards that you can build decks that are fairly competitive with. So from a, is it expensive to get in and like learn the game and be competitive and get to the top rank? Absolutely not. You can do that without spending any money, and you'll be able to acquire cards over time and pick and choose and target the ones that you want eventually and get others at random for free. Their structure's pretty reasonable. Joke's on you, they're gonna make a Switch 2 version. You have to turn your Switch vertical. Yeah, it's just gonna be fully touchscreen. The Switch 2 is a touchscreen, I assume, right? The Switch 1 was? Yeah, Joshua, I've actually talked about that before. I don't think they should get rid of the ladder by any means. I think the ladder is a net positive, but I actually think it's a net negative that they added the ladder while removing the medal events. And like, they actually have the perfect setup. We make jokes / complain about the 5 or 6 days or whatever it is where there's no ranked season at the end of each month, which is really silly. Like, that's the if they don't want the medal events to overlap the ladder, there should just be a 30 wins events or whatever it is for that last week of the season into the first couple of days. Like, you already have ranked turned off then, and you have the events programmed into the client. Like, put a 30 wins or a win streak event or whichever one of those you want to do over that 5 days to week. Like, stuff like that. It's like, Jeff, what do you think they could give us that's, like, reasonable within their, like, something like that, I think is a reasonable ask. Like, they obviously already have it programmed. They just have to turn it on. Like, they already have this weird, awkward gap for ranked. Like, just throw it in there. Why do you think they took out the 5 win streak emblem? And I would bet that the reason why they got rid of those events when they added ranked is because these games explicitly, when I say these games, I mean Pocket, I mean Snap, I mean every mobile game, these games explicitly only want to give away so much currency for free. So when they added ranked, they put hourglasses inside of ranked. So they cut the other events that they were previously giving out resources from. And you're like, well, Jeff, is them giving out 24 hourglasses or whatever in these events going to break the economy? Probably not. But it probably means they don't hit some kind of stupid KPI that some suit wrote down on a whiteboard somewhere that they decided they need to hit. Or they go over some arbitrary threshold that they've set of how many resources they could give out for free. Because I also can't emphasize enough that I think a lot of people feel like the economies in these games are random. And when the fall of society eventually happens sometime, you know, hopefully in the distant future, one of the reasons society is going to have collapsed is because instead of having the best and brightest minds in the world solving our systematic problems that need to be addressed, some of the best and brightest minds in the world that are really good at math and stuff, chat, they're fucking designing systems inside of mobile games to maximize the amount of manipulation and how much money their people spend them. Like, some of the smartest freaking people in the world are like being paid gobbles of money to figure out how to make Pokemon Pocket make $1 billion in 7 months. That's where they're at. Foolhardy Dragon, thank you for the 31 months. Like, these economy systems are not remotely random. They're carefully, calmly, and coolly calculated to try and extract maximum value from all of the user bases. And that's true of Pocket, it's true of Snap, it's true of literally every other game out there. Like, that's what they're doing. They're not just throwing random noodles at a wall. All right, I've got X speed to move this out. If we can find a Mantike, we can start getting energy charged up right away. It's close here. So I really want a Mantike, but on the other side, I kind of want to draw. I kind of want to be able to draw towards Candy too. So like, there's a basic I want to draw, but there's also a non-basic I want to draw as well. All right, we've got all of our friends set up here. My kingdom for a baby that makes fighting energy. So, and I think, again, because this is water and not fighting, we put the energy to start on Poliwag because the Gibble's not going to be able to attack next turn regardless. Rubik, thank you for the 2/3 of a year. Appreciate that. Welcome back. Come on, give Papa a fighting energy. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. That's what we like to see. That's what we like to see, gamers. All right, so I'm gonna research. I'm gonna go Gabite. I'm gonna go Gibble. I'm gonna go Water Energy here. We can only Splashy Toss onto, we can only Splashy Toss onto basic Pokemon. So we'll Splashy Toss here, we'll Water Energy here, and the next turn we go Fighting plus Evolve, and we'll be ready to go. Griffin Bruce, in case anybody's unfamiliar with how long I've been here on Twitch.tv, Griffin Bruce has resubscribed for 109 months. Thank you for the over 9 years of support. Welcome back. Appreciate it. It's long. That's an eternity. All right, there's the perfect card to shear away, so we can go digging for a candy here. Ooh, piece of candy. I think they're cooked at this point, yeah. We've got Daddy Chomp up front. We got his poker buddy in the back. What's this one do? 70, flip a coin if tails, this attacks us nothing. If heads, they're paralyzed. Man, there's a feast or famine attack. That's real scary. Some high roll potential on that Pokemon. Will he is, gamers. Oh, baby. Baby William. William is a terrifying gamer. All right, so I think I want to shear towards a second candy here because Cyrus isn't going to be relevant this game, and I want to get this other bench Pokemon to more HP, so that way we don't get tagged by a Sabrina. Perfect. Because obviously, if they have another Will or they hit heads, they clear this, and then Poliwrath is primed to, like, clear them out. But I just need to make sure we don't get punked out by a supporter here. Want to kind of think about my lose conditions and then try and play around those lose conditions happening. Only 4 cards left in our deck here. Alright, they got him. Chomp down, Drampa asserting its dominance as the superior dragon Pokemon. But our prize mapping looking strong here. Able to give up 2 knockouts and then still finish on Polydad here. Yeah, they're cooked. Hey, Meowroo! Ooh, we have a Boltund enjoyer. Yamper enjoyer? Yamper enjoyer? Did we say Yamper? Yamper's the cuter one, right? Probably a Yamper enjoyer. Alright, we're gonna play a little bit more with Garchomp Poliwrath this morning, so I'm having fun with it. And then we're gonna try out some Raichu Yamper. It's our next one today. Jeff, why can't the American government fix its ballooning debt if we have all these brilliant economists? They're working on mobile games, gamer. That was the short, sarcastic answer. The longer answer is that fixing the American government's ballooning debt problem requires not only cuts at the government level, but also increasing taxes. And that's the problem, right? Like, Republicans are not fiscally conservative, right? Like, every time they get into power, they cut necessary services like Medicare and Medicaid, like their big, beautiful bill does. But that doesn't even save money. They're going to balloon the deficit a ton despite cutting essential services, because they're cutting more in taxes from the wealthy than they're cutting from Medicare and Medicaid. You gotta do probably both, but really you just need to tax the people that are like have yachts and spaceships. That's something Elizabeth Warren really got right. We absolutely should have a wealth tax in this country. It's beyond absurd that I, a middle-class person, pay taxes every year on my most valuable asset, my home. But people who own things like yachts and other extravagant, really expensive things don't pay a yearly wealth tax on really expensive ticket items that they own. We should absolutely tax all of those really big, unnecessary, extravagant things that wealthy people own at a rate every single year, like we tax people's homes. That's how you fix the system. Yes, we also have a blank check for dropping bombs on people in the Middle East. We only ever ask, how are you going to pay for something in the American government when it's like lunches for kids at school or it's healthcare for people that need it. But you want to drop bombs on someone in the Middle East? Blank check, baby. Ain't nobody got to ask where it's coming from. We just assume there's an endless money pit. Which, speaking of, like, obviously, Donald Trump moving to rename the Department of Defense to Department of War is, like, very dystopian and nonsensical. But talking again from a pure fiscally conservative standpoint, I saw an independent study that said they estimated it's going to cost roughly $1 billion with a B for them to rebrand the Department of Defense to Department of War and all of the ways they need to do so to have it be consistent. So it's just like, it's stuff like that, right? I'll do it for 75 million personally, God bless. 750 million personally, God bless. True patriot for your country. Are there fighting energies in our energy zone, chat? I'm starting to think they don't exist. Alright, so there is no fighting energy in Bossing Sim. Sup, Bart? Thank you for the 10 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Cooked. Absolutely and mercilessly cooked. Alright, take 2. I'm convinced every day we live in a simulation. It's gotta be. I did take a look at my final nail in the coffin for Shadowverse was I looked at their most recent tournament and Rune was 50% of their top 8. So I think I'm gonna take that as a sign from God that Shadowverse. Talking about game balance, like I actually think, going back to the topic of game balance, I actually think, going back to the topic of game balance, the Pokemon Pocket team has actually done a pretty impressive job with their spread of decks in this game, despite not doing regular balance. Like, obviously, it's less diverse than something like Snap that does balance passes twice a month, but I think, generally speaking, I'm pretty impressed with the range of decks that we have. If you make the variance high enough, the game balances itself. Man, I read... It is literally my job to read terrible takes from chat, but that one's up there. If you make the game high enough variance, it balances itself. What was the best thing? What was the best thing I ever read? Elon Musk taking over Twitter is like all of those takes you read on places like Reddit, where the Redditors think they could run the company better than the people currently do. And Elon Musk just happened to finally have enough money where he could like actually buy it and show that he in fact could not run Twitter better than the people already running it. No, Pokemon Pocket is not. Listen, if Variance, like Magic the Gathering is the poster child for that statement that person made being silly not being true, because Magic the Gathering is easily one of the highest variance games I've ever touched, and it's not well balanced despite being high variance. In fact, Magic the Gathering just banned like 6 cards in their standard format from the same deck, and it's like still the best deck. It's actually impressive. Like, you want to talk about games that that balance or lack thereof. All right, I think I've got 1 or maybe 2 more embarrassing losses in me with this one, and then we'll move on. Yeah, always Luby me. Is it still a problem? Jackwater, thank you for the 29 months. Welcome back. What's your best card game of all time despite balance and monsters? I genuinely think Snap in its current state is the best card game I've ever touched. I think they did a ton of really innovative things in the card game space, and I personally really love their approach to live balance. Best card game ever is like a super subjective metric, but Snap hits it on. It's the reason I'm still playing it 3 years in. Yeah, in fact, the primary thing to complain about or point out being bad in Marvel Snap is that their actual digital client leaves a little bit to be desired. It's been a little bit of a laggy disaster lately. It's still very playable, but it has more in-game crashes than I would care for. Than our ideal. Ooh, we have some candy. I think we're sharing the X speed, yeah? Am I? Or is it the big jump? I'm gonna share the big chomp, because if I hit Mantike, I'm gonna X speed into the Mantike. And now we're going to share the XP next turn, so I'm going to go ahead and rare candy into this Poliwrath. Oh, you know, was I maybe just supposed to let this die? Thinking about the back and forth here, I should have put the fighting energy on the Poliwrath, yeah? 100%. I should have put the energy on the Poliwrath. I'm through both my candies, but I actually can't evolve into the second Poliwrath. I think we're just doing this. We're just chilling for a turn here. I think we're actually gonna be okay. I mean, I made a mistake, but I guess if they have a cape, we get into trouble, which is very possible. But like if I had put the first fighting energy on Poliwrath, we'd be hitting for 140 next turn. Whereas now they're gonna have an extra window. That's a very weird decision from them. That's gotta be wrong. Oh, I should have sheared. That's fine. It probably doesn't matter. I think the only utility card we draw towards at this point is oh, I guess I could have drawn towards evolving the Gibble. Goodbye my deck. Okay. Am I through all of my basics? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I am, so we'll shear the Pokeball. They are 2 turns off of attacking with either of their Darkrai's here. So I think our opponent is cooked. You know, I made a mistake with our energy to start. I guess if they find Cape, they might still get us here, yo. Genesis! Thank you for the 4 years of sub support. It's a really long time. Welcome back. Alright, so we're gonna go ahead and shear Poliwrath away, because I don't have another candy I can't evolve into it anyways. Let's put this here. Let's put this here. Hit them with the Knuckle Buster. Okay, so they can win if they have Cape plus second Cyrus, because they already burned a Cyrus. So they need Cape to live my Hydro Knuckle, and then they need Cyrus to pull Poliwrath back up when I retreat and attack with the Garchomp. Okay, so they had the Cape and the Cyrus, but they did this. I guess they could have Sabrina here. Sabrina still gets us. That is, it's not a Sabrina, and Repel doesn't work on us, so... I think we're good. We made a really big mistake early this game, but our opponent made a bigger mistake. Should we shear the Pokeball in case they Mars us? Can we shear when our deck is empty? No, you can't. Okay. I should have played the Poliwag to play around Mars, but shearing wasn't an option. You're right. We could have played around Mars, but I played around it by playing the Poliwag, not by shearing, so it's not an option. So interesting game there. I made a mistake earlier, then opponent made a mistake late, so we ended up taking it. By the way, to give a shout out to one of our wonderful new sponsors, Holzkern. They make my wonderful new timepiece, as well as a fantastic range of jewelry and watches for both men and women. I have a $100 gift code to give away for them. You just gotta join my Discord server and then react to the post in the announcements channel with the appropriate emoji there. You'll see there's 42 people that have done that. I'm gonna pick a winner for that later this week. 43 people now. I think Dark Tina is becoming lesser meta now. Based on tournament results, Dark Tina tends to be the second or third most played deck. I think Dark Tina is less common on the ladder, despite still being very good, because it's just been a deck for months, and people play this game for fun, and most of the grinders are tired of grinding it. Ooh, I got a Mantike, I've got a Gibble, I've got a Fighting Energy into the zone, gamers. Are we ready for this? Are we ready? I go Gibble. This last bench slot is definitely being saved for a Poly. I'm not going to play the research yet because I want to play around Red Card and Mars. We've got three looks at 3 different Garchomps next turn. I have 1 EX and 2 regular. Lacarp, thanks for watching so much over the last year and more. Welcome to our latest Shillionaire. Ping me on the Discord server to get access to that. Like 1 Baby Chomp, please. Baby Chomp probably wins the game on the spot. Unlucky. Oh. Where am I putting this Fighting Energy? I think I'm putting it on the Poliwag. Candy Ninja Cyrus is gonna end the game on the spot in their favor, unfortunately, but I think this is the line now. Watch a Straw Chomp now. RNG, get RNG, gamers. I guess we'll switch out and make them have to use their Ninja Trigger here later. Opponent's draw also incredibly limp, at least. Like, our draw is actually less bricked than theirs is, just neither of us are in a particularly good spot. They have Psychic Energy in their Suicune build. I thought they were playing an older one when I saw the Psychic. Maybe, I'm curious to know, like, did they do this intentionally or not? My guess would be no, but we'll see. Come on, give me a Wrath. Man, I don't think I want to spend the Cyrus for tempo here. I think it's just this. Are we sure we have 3 chops in the deck? Yeah, so our deck right now is 5 stage 2s and a research. We're 75%. We're 75% to have a stage 2 next turn. The real content play is Cyrus the Froakie and then Poliwag hit heads. That would be the esports play for sure. So long, me and Tyke. I hardly do you. Look at him, Bello. It does exist! Punch that dog right in the mouth. We both bricked a little bit here, but opponent maybe bricked harder than us. Our Cyrus next turn looking real good. Maybe we're supposed to play the Mantike out to play around the old Mars a little bit. It's my favorite Pokemon, Jeff, not in the game, but just in general. Alolan Sandshrew. Sandshrew is my favorite Pokemon growing up, and Blue's my favorite color. So when they came out with Alolan Sandshrew, it felt like they designed a character just for me. Yeah, I could have played out the bench, and I could have X-speeded. Is that crazy to share the research? Probably. I think it's the line. And then we're dead to any healing they have. Okay, tie. We lose to healing and we tie them. A lot of these builds are playing 2 Irida. We lose to Cyrus as well, right? No, because they only have 1 point. We wouldn't have guaranteed had the win, but my deck would have been 8 cards instead of 10. So I would have been more likely to have brick their Mars if I had taken a different line that game. So didn't give myself the best possible odds there. Kamikaze, thank you for the 27 months. Crazy BM there, or as I like to call it, average game of Pokemon Pocket. I don't get why people stall at ranked like that, because they have never felt the warm embrace of another human being. And their primary source of vitamin D is their monitor in their basement. All right, fighting energy on the top of the zone here, and we have the X speed. So if we could find a Mantike, that's lovely. We get to pivot around and drop the water energy. Unfortunately, we're not going to have the ability to... I guess we could hit second research into exactly Candy Chomp, but very likely not attacking for 100 next turn. Go ahead and splashy onto the Gibble here. And then we hit 2 fightings in a row, so EX Chomp's going to be able to hit him with the Claw next turn if we want. I'm hoping for no Irida. I'm just gonna go ahead and tap this here. I could be wrong to play this out too because of Suicune. Well, that one's forever and a half away from attacking. Irida is so good. You got another water energy here. I think we're done. Just trying to think through if there's any permutations that get us out of this here. I think the answer is no. Because even if they don't heal and like the Poliwag hits ahead, their Greninja's gonna be ready to attack here, right? For their last point. Alright, we take a brief pause for the cause to let some adverts roll so they don't happen over the top of gameplay, because that's super rude. When we get back, we're gonna take one more loss with this one, so maybe a couple of games, maybe just one. And then we've got a viewer deck submission featuring some Yamper and some Boltund. So I give that one a try for the first time. Thanks everybody for hanging out this morning. Appreciate the early crew that's here for some Pocket to begin the day. If you're watching on the YouTube side, you want more Pocket content on the regular, tap the like button. It's a free way for you to engage and help the content grow and be a part of my regular job and content schedule. If you really enjoy what I do and you want to support what I do directly, consider signing up for a membership on the YouTube side or a subscription on Twitch. Those bits of direct support are a big part of why I'm able to do what I do as a job. Galaxy games been so good. I've actually stopped playing Snap, Shadowverse, and Pocket to make way for it. It's got a really good game loop block. Once Upon a Galaxy and DC Dark Legion are probably the 2 things I play the most of off stream these days. They both got once especially is real good. It's like, well, the nice thing about Once is having a game that feels real good to play that doesn't beat you over the head with monetization. I've talked before, but I really hope Once Upon a Galaxy is successful, not just because I like the game, but because the monetization is so player friendly. Having games with monetization like they have finding success is good for the industry as a whole. Encourages more people to model after them. Yes, it's made by some of the same devs that did Storybook, bro. Yeah, that's such a good way to put Storybook, bro, or Once Upon a Galaxy. I don't feel gross when I recommend it to a friend. It's like people are like, well, what is Pokemon Pocket's gameplay gonna be like? Yeah, I enjoy Pokemon Pocket's gameplay, but they're like, well, what does it cost to get into it? It's just like, well. Without an X speed in hand, I think I just chill here. All right, so they're set up for a Dragonite attack as early as next turn. Really strong start for them. I think this is gonna be a game where we give up points to start just to buy time. So like they could realistically be slamming us with the Dragonite next turn, so I don't think we Yep. So, while it's true that it's a somewhat minimal cost to play Pokemon Pocket competitively because you could pick up Dark Tina and it's eternally playable, most people who play card games or games in general aren't remotely interested in simply being competitive. The average person playing a game is playing it casually and they want to play that game for fun. And just because you can grind, the same deck for a decade and always be competitive and get to the top doesn't mean that that game experience is fun for most people. So yes, being competitive in Pocket is pretty accessible and affordable. I would agree with that. If you're someone who's going to be content just slamming the one deck, it's pretty serviceable to get access to that one deck. However, if you want to experience a range of Pocket and consistently experience the new things when it happens, it's expensive. It's like if someone's like, Jeff, what's the price to get into Pocket and keep up with stuff on release? The answer to that question is like loosely $1,200 a year. It's like 75 to $80 per card pack, and sometimes they do more than one card pack at a time. That's actually such a great way to frame it from Gap. You can buy an entire competitive meta deck in paper Pokemon for less than it costs to get pack points to buy a single EX from a new set. That's just true. That is such a good Pokemon to Pokemon way to frame the cost of Pocket. Is for less than the cost of the pack points for one EX Pokemon, you could buy an entire tiered paper Pokemon deck. Usually paper Pokemon decks, there's a tiered one available for like 50 to 100 bucks or so. I think they've had decks win worlds that cost less than 100 bucks on more than one occasion. If you can actually find physical products. So, credit where credit is due for people that don't understand the Pokemon economy. Finding physical product is difficult in paper Pokemon because of scalpers chasing chase cards. And chase cards are not mechanically unique. And those chase cards that have alt arts and are shiny that are worth a lot of money actually make playing competitive Pokemon cheaper because of all the people rushing to rip product to get the chase cards. There are lots of copies available of the base art cards to play the competitive decks. So the craze around finding foils and high-end chase cards actually makes competitive Pokemon cheaper. So it makes it harder for people that want to like rip loot boxes. Like loot boxes are more expensive because of the availability issue with paper Pokemon. But playing paper Pokemon competitively is actually fairly cheap because of all of the hype around it. It actually makes it cheaper. Ooh, a Gengar enjoyer. Look at us, chat, in our terrible stage 2 Pokemon decks. Pokemon Pocket in its purest form. Eevee's going to be finding a friend, and more importantly, because they're on Psychic Energy, Sylveon's going to be able to attack for our opponent. Can I find a piece of candy? Ooh, that's some redraws. Might be a fast one, gamers. Do I want Baby Chomp or Big Chomp? I think it's Baby Chomp so I can shear. That's close though. Because Big Chomp with weakness does still clear this. Want to go digging for another basic here. Perfect. Yes, Meow. We're gonna play your deck after we're done with this one. Oh, bother. That's still only 50 damages, though. You think supporters can ever be strong enough in this game to make Gengar EX playable? Probably not. I think I'm gonna shear Big Chomp. Am I? That's gotta be crazy. Shear the Cyrus. I might regret this. We'll see. I will be okay either way, probably. Oh, they have... I thought the cape looked a little strange, but Lily plus the cape letting them live here makes a lot of sense. All right, that makes our Reckless Shearing choice this turn very easy. What do we think of retreating this and then energying the Poliwag? I think I'm into it. And then I think I'm actually going to put Baby Chomp here. And I'm going to go ahead and shear again to, like, guarantee that we get to Poliwrath next turn. Well, I guess there's a permutation that we could technically miss on, but there's a rare... I guess the rare candy could be in our bottom two, potentially. Thanks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, so the Pokeball currently has no text. I don't think this doesn't have text anymore, right? So I don't think there's anything in our deck that helps us, but we might as well shear through it all, right? We're not doing anything anyways. Yeah, I'd be happy to take a deck submission or two per Snap Bars team. If you want to send something in, you can claim the first slot. All right, if they have Candy EX Gengar, they could get us 8 cards. 8 cards left in their deck, though. Ooh, 6 cards left in their deck. Everybody pledge. Cool. Close game. Oh, by the way, because I like to brag, there were a lot of people that were very down on the Dragonite highlight comments because people love to be haters. There were not 1, not 2, not 3, but I think 5 different Dragonite decks in the top cut of the biggest tournament this past weekend, which was fun to see. I don't think he's gonna be a top meta deck by any means, but he's incredibly competitive. I think one actually won it too, right? Like, not that taking exactly first really is super meaningful, but yeah, one of them won it. But I think the fact that there were 5 in the top cut is more meaningful than one spiking all the way, just so we're clear. Yes, submissions for Snap are open, dudes. Leading on Tina. Interesting. There's a fighting energy under this, so we find a baby. All right. You have spent 1 card to take 1 card away from me. Alright, and now we're on the Garchomp plane, hopefully. Could still be on the Poliwrath plan. No fighting energy, Sedge. God, part of me wants to just surprise attack them. It's gotta be wrong, though. I'd probably be open to doing commentary for one of the Snap tournaments if they asked me once we're out of the summer season. I don't think I'd want to give up like one of my days outside with the kids, but like once the weather's a bit worse anyways, I think that could be fun potentially. All right, so just waiting on a candy for either of these. We've got some choices here. So it's a stream plan there. We're gonna do a few hours of Pokemon Pocket and then a few hours of Marvel Snap. I think Cape on Tita is actually a good thing for us generically, because it means they're not keeping the Suicune. I'm pretty sure if we spike the candy, we candy the Chomp first, so that way we can shear towards the next one. I haven't found Candy Ninja yet, which is nice for us. Both of us having not amazing openers, but not terrible either. We're gonna be pretty well set up once we get to evolve next turn. Wow, they're bellowing again. That's interesting. That kind of surprises me. I'm gonna do this. I haven't run either research yet, so let's get shearing. This is not a double poly. I don't think we're ever a double Poliwrath game. They were missing Greninja and or Candy last turn, so they're going to need to draw it this turn to clear the Chomp. And then we have 2 draws at Candy and then 2 redraws towards Candy and the researches. Are they retreating? They must be retreating, yeah? Oh, they're Iridying. Okay, that's clever. That doesn't live the Dragon Claw, though. Not clever if they can't live the Dragon Claw, because do they forget they're taking 20? They could be retreating to the Suicune here after they heal. I think this pauses them forgetting that they take 20 from the Chaotic Impact. Maybe they wanted to retreat anyways. This makes sense too. Then they have the 130 pointer in the back line. All right, if we find the candy, we get to clear this. Oh. I think I pull the Tina back up. What do we think? What if I pull the Tina up and I retreat? Nah, I need to hit it, right? Because they definitely have a Cyrus. Yeah, well, they almost assuredly have a Cyrus. Like, I think I lose the Chomp even if I retreat. So I think we pull the Tina and put it to 10. And now they probably have Cyrus, and then we lose when they kill the Poliwag. That's a tough loss. Yeah, GG. All right, let's build our viewer deck, huh? And for a change of pace, we play this one for about 90 minutes. Don't you see Lily as better than Cyrus, maybe? No. I mean, that last game's a wonderful example of why Lily wouldn't be very useful, right? Like, we would have been cooked either way. It doesn't remotely impact the thing that actually won them the game. What break point in the metagame does Lily matter for? None that I can think of. All right, let's do an intro for this one. I'll probably throw a cute highlight up with it. Just playing some of my favorite cards. How's it going, gamers? Coming at you today with a double stage 2 deck featuring one of my favorite Pokemon in the IP in Garchomp. Both of these Pokemon utilize fighting and water energy to hit for really solid amounts of damage. Poliwrath in particular cracking for 140 can clean out things like Suicune in a single go, and Garchomp's reckless shearing makes it so we are more likely to assemble multiple stage 2s in a single game of Pokemon Pocket. Your most aggressive starts involve Mantike as a lead, allowing you to rare candy up into Chomp and hit for 100 on the second turn of the game. And we get to splash in promo Poliwag here as well, occasionally cracking for 40 points of damage on a coin flip that can clear out baby Pokemon in a pinch. If you enjoy off-meta decks being explored in Pokemon Pocket like this one, make sure you're subscribed to Oglandia Pocket here on YouTube so you don't miss any of the things that we'll be covering here. For the rest of the day, if you enjoy this one, smash the like button. Have fun. Or 2 copies of Emoliga. I don't know what that card does. What does this do? Deal 10 damage to one of your bench Pokemon, 40 for 1. I've played worse. What are your thoughts on swapping Garchomp EX for Poliwrath? I think all of your choices add variance in different ways. You are welcome to make whatever changes you want. I think in general, if I thought playing a card was a good idea, I'd have been playing it. What does Boltund do? This Pokemon's has damage on it. This attack can be used for 1 energy. Oh, okay. I understand. I see the vision here now. So Emolga hits this, and then you could hit 70 for 1. That's cute. And Emolga has a retreat cost of 1, yeah. So you could Emolga for 40, hit your Yamper, and then switch into Boltund, and then hit for 70 on the second turn. Then you tried Araquand and Lana with Suicune. Is working better than anticipated for me. So Araquand and Lana with Suicune is what I like to refer to in the business as, if you take the best deck and you jack it up by a handful of cards, it's still good enough that it's playable. So yes, Suicune. Suicune is an incredibly powerful card, and you can play it with Araquand, and you can play it with Primarnia, and you can play it with all sorts of other things, most of which aren't good and are varying degrees worse than Greninja, and still win plenty of games because the Suicune core is very, very powerful. Matthias, thank you for the 27 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Good morning, good morning. What are my last couple I'm missing here? An X speed and a second cape. Dig it. Dig it. I do enjoy 2 capes. No full art Yamper. I'd rather have my cards matched, I think. Only have 1 full art Yamper. Is the event Zoroark any good? The event Zoroark's the same as the set Zoroark, right? It's just full art. So to answer your question, no, probably not competitive, but you could probably win games with it. I think we are firmly at the point in our current metagame cycle where I would be genuinely surprised if anything that was going to be competitive hadn't been discovered yet. So it's safe to assume, whether you're watching it on this channel or any other, if it isn't one of the handful of top decks we're aware of, it's probably a gimmicky B tier at best type thing. Biwas Goons, thank you for the 3rd of a year. Welcome back. Darkrai, thank you for the 21 months. Good morning, good morning. All right, let's hop into a game with this and see how the old Boltund feels. Take my Prime sub. Appreciate you said that a couple of buckaroos from Jeffrey Bezos my way. Good morning, good morning. Build something with Wasp and Yellow Jacket. We can do that, not my dance. Thanks for the submission. We're going first. I have Raikou, Zeraora, and Elemental Switch. Oh, baby. Oh, baby. You're gonna kick my bench. Good little, ooh's a good little pup. How is Entei EX? Entei EX is definitely the worst of the 3 legendary beasts, but it's still a very serviceable card. There aren't any top tier fire decks in our current metagame, but you can play Entei and not feel completely embarrassed. I think it's a very reasonable pairing with any of the stage 2 fire EXs. Infernape and Incineroar, I think, are both reasonable seconds with it. Oh, Hitmonlee in Silvally Rampardos. Yeah, it seems sweet. Does it make sense to Voltaic Bullet be Fossil? Unfortunately, due to weakness, Raikou's gonna die to Rampardos in 1 anyways. And then it'll be at 90. So Boltund still can't finish it. Yeah, I think we're cooked to Candy plus what's it called? Queued up with my lightning deck and immediately queued into my first fighting matchup of the morning. Wake up, sheeple. The truth is out there. Oh, I forgot about weakness. We're still dead. Overkill is underrated. Yep. All right, well, we're starting at the bottom, 1450, so it'll be easy to remember anecdotally how high we go up while playing this pile. We always cover doom and gloom news and things that are relevant in society, so I like to cover happier news too when it comes up. Did anybody see that one of the AI companies settled to the tune of $1.5 billion being paid out to authors whose books they took without licensing them to train their AI model on? They agreed to pay out $3,000 per text that they took. So hopefully that sets a precedent for creatives to get paid. Because that's the big problem with Gen AI, is that it is deeply unethical from we're taking other people's works and using them without their permission to trade on. One of my friends had 30 books in the set. Good for them. I have to imagine that's going to be the first of many. That court case for the U.S. though, right? I'm sure. No, they settled. They settled out of court to the tune of $1.5 billion. This is not a we're gonna appeal. They're paying this out instead of going to court because they are guilty AF and definitely stole the work. Is Entei serviceable with Turtonator? It doesn't have any competitive chops, but it might be fine. I don't know. I think it's awkward to play one-pointers behind the dogs at times, with some exceptions. Yes, a settlement means there's no precedent created, so there's no guarantee that you're going to have similar outcomes in other cases, but it does encourage other AI companies to settle, which is good. All right, so what are we doing here? Do we pivot to Raichu and hit them for... I kind of just want to X-speed out. I'm definitely X-speeding out. We're gonna do this. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna hit them with Raging Thunder again. And then if they can't heal this does 60, and then this does 80. I don't think I'm playing this other bench Pokemon out just yet. Alright, so they have the Candy Ninja. Do they have the Era to survive? Oh no, not my hand that's missing my stage 1. Whatever will I do now? Really glad this this red card isn't like a cape. If they had a cape or a way to heal, we could be in big trouble. they get out of it from here, right? They don't have energy on Greninja here. So I think I want to play out my basics, so that way when I get Marsed, it's less detrimental. And I think we put 10 points on the Froakie, because I can clear that with a Cyrus with a couple of my things. That plays to win. One, two, three, four, five, six. So there's one more basic in my deck. Oh, they hit second candy with that. Gosh, are we dead? I think we're dead. So I guess if they don't have Cyrus, which is a big if, they've already played one. But if they don't have Cyrus, I can top deck Boltund and win the game with our Cyrus. So if we dodge their second Cyrus, that'll do. Do Mars and red cards see a lot of play? Yeah, they're staples in the tournament list. People love feeling like they're being disruptive. And they never see the actual results, so they don't know when they're disruptive versus when they didn't do anything, versus when they helped. That's right. It's a very easy mental gymnastics to be like, oh, this card is good. All right. Take a brief pause for the cause. Let some adverts roll. Appreciate everybody hanging out this morning. Don't go anywhere. We're going to play some more Boltund when we get back. Boltund. If you're watching on the YouTube side, you're enjoying the Pocket content, make sure you tap the like button. It doesn't cost you anything and helps the content reach some more people. Appreciate the folks that have done that already today. The Iceman effect, when it hits, it's great, but you'll never know. Yeah, except Iceman never makes your opponent's hand better, right? Yeah, to set a low bar, I think Silver is the best disruptive card they've ever added to this game. It's more similar to Iceman. Well, I guess with Silver you get to see their hand, but you never make their hand actively better, even if sometimes it doesn't do anything. So they cut the de minimis exemption coming into the country at the end of August, gamers. And the UN Postal Union put out the stat that shippings into the United States dropped 81% since then. I'm just wondering if we're great yet. When does that happen? Now, worth noting, that's just for individual and small packages, yeah? So it's not like shipments coming into stores and stuff, but it means people that were getting stuff brought in from outside the country were. There's less of those coming in. Raichu feels a little bit awkward with all these one-pointers. I agree with that so far, Lucky. We were talking about the dogs with one-pointers. And so far, the Raichu into low HP one-pointers feels a little clunk in this deck. The other Raikou deck that I really enjoyed. Oh, let's put the full art one up front. The other Raikou deck I really enjoyed was playing Magnezone, but that one's got a little bit more HP than like Boltund and stuff. We got some big beats by Dr. Buzz here for the opponent. Would Pokemon Communication be better for this deck's consistency? So, again, a card like Pokemon Communication obviously makes your deck more consistent at assembling its evolutions. However, things like that are not free. Generally speaking, tools like that, you're trading power for consistency. You're giving up the ability to have a card like Cyrus or Giant Cape that win the game on the spot in other situations for cards that let you assemble your other things more frequently. So it's never a strictly better, strictly worse situation. It's always a trade-off. This is the other thing about this particular build that feels a little bit awkward. This actually, them hitting this would have been potentially really good for us because like I have the Boltund and we could have hit for 70, but I also don't have Leaf. And there's only one copy of X Speed, so I can't get the Boltund into the active spot and get the Raikou out here. I had $180 package coming into the country. It was supposed to get here on the 28th, and it didn't get through to the 1st, but they didn't end up charging anything because it would have been like $100 in tariffs on 180 bucks. You probably dodge it because no one has the timer incentive to go through a $180 package. So, part of the absurdity of cutting the de minimis exemption that the Trump administration has done is that we don't actually have the infrastructure currently to do individualized tariffs on that volume of small packages that typically come into the country. So the stopgap that they've done in the short term is that they're simply charging a flat fee on all packages coming into the country. So rather than paying the percentage, I think it's like 80 bucks per package coming in, regardless of how much the package is actually worth. We lost our Cyrus to the red card, so I can't pull the Buzzwole up. We're gonna get absolutely cooked by a copy of Lusamine here is the problem. And this is, again, part of the problem here with what's going on with how this deck is built is, I like have to give up the Raikou, but then once I give up the Raikou, my Boltund can't finish anything, right? I don't know, maybe I'm supposed to pivot and take a knockout with this, then go into the Boltund after, but then I have a 60-point finisher in the back that still can't kill the Buzzwole. Have you tried this deck without the Raikou, Meowru? I feel like my inclination after playing some games here is that I would like to play it as a mostly one-pointer. Yeah, I think I want to try it. I think I want to try it without the Raikous. Omega! Thank you for the 13 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. I've been testing Boltund with the 150 EX Pikachu finisher. That's cute. I kind of like the idea of Pichu as an extra way to charge this up in the games where we don't have the Emolga. We could also play just these to have them happen more consistently though, and then you could play Pokemon Communication. Just like you open on these more consistently. It could be like fifth basic, a couple Pokemon Communication to like another X speed. Are any other lightning basics worth playing? You can play Pichu and a Calm. Yeah, maybe. I feel like I probably need a big hitter though, yeah? I don't hate the idea of a couple people mentioned Shining Revelry Pikachu could be okay because these technically only need like 1 energy each. Could also play Zappy Bird. I don't hate that idea. It's like playing a copy of this. And a couple of utility cards here. Honestly, a Rocky Helmet's probably a decent piece of gear since we're going to be giving up 1-pointers. We can let them pound on those. We'll play like a copy of red, maybe. Great. It's the Dream Gamers. Just need the Boltund. Despite all the rage shit, we're still just an Emolga in a cage. Alright, 50-50 Pichu Zapdos. Love to see the Zapdos. Stack damage on the back of Emolga here. I guess I could have played the cape out to play around those a little bit. I made them slightly worse. Opponent phoning a friend. Gosh, our Boltunds are so shy, chat. Where am I Bolt Dog at? Alright, assuredly there's a Charizard about to come on the board, yes? There's a lot of permutations of this that win the game, yeah? And if we miss, they can't attack with the Charizard next turn. Pretty unlikely they have Leaf for X speed. Easy game. Didn't even need the Cyrus, chat. Should have just believed. Easiest game of Pokemon Pocket I ever played in my life. You know what I think I want? We talked about playing communication that I never added one in. I think I'm gonna do that. This copy of red. What about Lantern Raichu as a deck? It's just so difficult to build up 5 energy over the course of the game, which is what that would require. What's his name? Has 110 HP, yeah? So if we have Raging Thunder and then we spike the Boltund next turn, we finish this out even through an evolution. You're missing full art Yampers. Yeah, it's just too expensive to get cosmetics in this game. And the cosmetics have such a short self-life. I said the wrong name. Whatever this thing's evolution is. Pockets, the first time I've ever spent money on cosmetics in a video game, and I regret it afterwards. $400 golden Pokeball is just way too much. Not to mention the various, like, $200, $200, 2-star full arts I have that just, like, get rendered unplayable the following set. At least the Pokeball I still get to play with. Glass half full. All right. A research, 2 Boltunds, and a communication for a redraw here. Is Leaf still playable? Leaf is still playable. Not as omnipresent as it was, but not unplayable by any means either. Yeah, there's a handful of 2-stars that are still playable, but a lot of them are not. I have a number of 2-stars that I invested a lot of resources into that are just worthless. So anyways, all of that's to say I don't spend money past getting a playset anymore. Put my $100 in or whatever, and then that's it for a set. Oh look, Boltund does exist. Imagine that. And then, obviously, we're dead to candy here. Candy Rampardos. This took us too long to find our dog. Yeah, actually I agree, Papa Pros. From a $1 spent to get cosmetics, it's a little sad that they stopped God Pack farming, but from this is a really tedious system that I felt compelled to participate in because it was technically optimal to do, it was a miserable thing to have to do. I don't think electrical cord is remotely relevant, being annoying. An electrical cord means you can't put a Rocky helmet or a cape on something. Also, the characters that we have up front, generally speaking, only have 1 energy on them. Alright, I mean, it's not ideal, but it's better than bricking. I've never seen a God Pack either opened or in Wonder Picks. It's pretty unlikely that God Packs show up in Wonder Picks now because they diluted them with shiny Pokemon, and shiny Pokemon can't show up in Wonder Picks. So anytime a God Pack has a shiny card in it, it's automatically disqualified, which is most of them these days. I'll put a hat on the Pichu, so that way if they want to clear it with Lightning Claw, they go down to the Defiant Spark. they have to decide. Are they taking the KO? And they decide they are. So we'll trade 1 for 1 here. It's probably a question of, will they have enough bench Pokemon after we take a knockout or two to clear the Boltunds with the Arceus? Oh man, I gotta close the politics channel this morning, chat. The Supreme Court just ruled Trump can fire the FTC commissioner without cause just because he wants to. Oh, it's gonna be a. We are just sprinting towards it, aren't we? Are we dead here? What's our out? I think the out is we go Zappy Bird this turn. I go Energy. I take my point. They clear me, take their that'll be their second point. I think we're dead. FTC, Federal Trade Commission. But basically, it's just another step towards him having a I do what I want card. And we're just dead at this point, right? I think I got one more L in me with this one, but believe it or not, Boltund's probably not playable. But is he a good boy? He hasn't showed up on time in any of our games, so I'm leaning towards not a good boy. All right, we're going second, and we have the Emolga into the Boltund. If we lose this game, we're done. This is quite literally how you draw it up. When you're like, all right, Jeff, what are we doing with this deck? This is it. Hey, Jeff, anything to share on the sponsorship? Yeah. Holzkern makes a huge range of watches and jewelry for both men and women. My Jeff H code will get you 15% off on their website through the end of the month. And I know we were talking about tariffs and stuff like that earlier. One of the things you can keep in mind if you're someone like myself that lives in the US, they've done their due diligence and have made sure whatever you pay for the product is going to get it to you without any extra surprise costs. They do ship out of Vienna. All of their products are made in small batches with natural materials, so they can ensure that they are ethically sourced and made. Oh, we also have, we're also doing a giveaway for them. I have a $100 gift code for Holzkern that we're gonna be giving away in the Discord server. You can pop on in there and react to the post in the announcements channel. You Sabrina up my Yeeper! You fool! It's what I wanted! They never play around the Boltund, chat. Got him. There's my doggo. Is there any reason to Rocky Helmet here? Rocky Helmet means that if they have an EV bag to heal, the Raging Thunder still clears them. Is it an American giveaway, or could I join as a European? Holzkern ships everywhere in the world. So, yeah. It's just for Holzkern as a site. I picked up a Holzkern watch for a different sponsorship they did, and there's some really high quality stuff. Yeah, really, really beautiful pieces up there. Got, this wonderful black setting with lapis lazuli as the stone behind it. Looks real slick piece. Ooh, keeps a nice draw, 'cause it means we don't trade here. When I hit them with Defiant Spark. They even ship into the US. Yeah, they actually paused their sponsorships briefly so they could figure out navigating all of the tariff nonsense. Anything, if you live in the US, anything that you pick up off their website is going to get delivered to your door without any extra surprise fees. What you pay is going to get it to you. All right, and now we get to Emolga here and hit them with Raging Thunder. Why are you playing Zapdos in this deck as your finisher as opposed to Pikachu? Why should I be playing Pikachu as opposed to Zapdos? Instead of me telling you you're wrong, tell me why you're right. Form a logical, reasonable argument. Make a compelling case for why your suggestion is better than the one that I'm playing. Okay. All right, Zappy Bird. You need slightly above average variance here. Need 3 out of 4. Because if we don't hit 3 out of 4, we actually lose to Cyrus. Actually, is this crazy? Call me maybe. With the X speed draw, do I peck this turn? So that way I only need 2 heads next turn. I don't die to Cyrus. I think I actually peck this turn. Because I have X speed and Cyrus, so if they retreat, I can still win on 2 heads. And hey, look, it's the Cyrus we played around, and with the X speed, they pull this up, I can still retreat and then Thundering Hurricane. So not a guaranteed win here, but I feel like we played around my opponent's likely sequence. And we miss here now, but they need second Cyrus. Which is possible, but not a guarantee. And then with Cyrus of our own, we get a reshot at 2 coins next turn. Alright, I said if we lost this one, we were going to be done. It seems only fair to be done. It wouldn't be a game of Pokemon Pocket if our opponent didn't take maximum game actions before finally ending it, right? I'm so glad this game doesn't have emotes. I'm so glad. That would be emoted into the ground for sure. If Pikachu flipped me the bird, I'd finally delete this game. That's true. Accurate. Be bad for player retention. Do you think there's a playable Miltank Whitney deck? There is not. Alright, so something close to this spiked one of our community tournaments. So I think I'm going to run an advert and then run upstairs and grab my lunch. And when we get back, we're gonna play some of this while I chow. Thanks for hanging out. Don't go anywhere, gamers. If you're watching on YouTube and you enjoyed watching us get beat up trying to play with Boltund, make sure you tap the like button. Your beat. You know, something we hadn't talked about today, we talked about a little bit in the Discord server, but I wanted to bring up on stream too. I'm gonna have best decks meta report tomorrow up. And I started putting together the data for it, but I haven't recorded it yet, obviously, is why it's not posted yet. But a piece of clickbait came across my YouTube feed that made the very bold claim our current metagame is the least balanced Pokemon Pocket metagame we've ever had. And it was just like a really prime piece of recency bias, because I went back through seeing that and then rounding up for the meta report. I looked at the stats for the meta report and some of the previous data that we have, and I actually, by the numbers, the Suicune Greninja deck is one of the weakest best decks this game has ever had. From a pure numbers objectivity standpoint, it's one of the weakest best decks Pocket's ever had. It's definitely the best deck. It's a very good Pokemon Pocket deck, but like it proportionally to the types of numbers that were put up by other decks and other metagames, it's not remotely the strongest thing this game has had. Not even close. It's supposed to evolve. So the problem is this dies to what's it called, and its text box doesn't matter. It might just be that I'm supposed to just charge Darkrai up. Let this take hits in the front. Although I guess this is an EX regardless. I could put EX Umbreon out, and then if they don't have it, I clear them. That's close. I feel like Pocket has had some incredibly narrow metagames already, even in its infancy, with Shadowverse being the only thing that rivals it. I don't know. I think if you like are coming from Marvel Snap into Pocket and Shadowverse, you have a pretty skewed view. Generally speaking, card games do not have super wide metagames. Like, Marvel Snap is genuinely unique in how many decks tend to be competitive in it at any given time because of its regular life balance. Like, Paper Pokemon, Magic the Gathering, Hearthstone, like a lot of these other games, like, if you have 4 decks that are competitive in a given metagame, that tends to be a lot. I don't think I've ever seen the UI for this card before, and man, is that bad. Two EV bags with a KO there. Yeah, so is this, though. And now I get to go ahead and keep this. Pocket even had a truly S tier god deck yet. Not like some other games I've had, but I think Executor was pretty close. Looking back at the historical data, the Executor deck was the closest thing we've ever had to insane conversion rates in a mature established metagame. Hey, Dopefish, thank you for the almost 2 years. Appreciate you dropping that Prime off again. I think it's this. I think it's this. I think we just hit them with Dark Bind. That's close. There could be merit to saving the Dark Bind as the follow-up. Letting them clear the EX to start. think I'm digging for the other baby Umbreon here. I think it's just crack you for 80. I think I messed that one up. I think I should have prioritized keeping the baby Umbreon for this weekend. Shouldn't have given it up as a knockout. What are the most fun decks you played in Pocket and Snap? In Snap, I really like Bounce decks and Werewolf by Night decks. They both give you a ton of interesting sequencing decisions over the course of the game. And in Pocket Lifetime, I think the time I enjoyed Pocket the most was when the Fighting Box, Farfetch'd, Marshadow, Hitmonlee deck they had during Mythical Island with like the Miser Tauros. Like that was the most interesting deck this game's ever had that was reasonably competitive. Ooh, Heatran Crobat Arceus is a good call out too. That one was also fun. I agree with that. Let's get our Twinkle on. None of those are the baby Umbreon I wanted for Christmas, chat. Assuredly this is, yes. right, let's bind him up. No attacks for you. Just 4 evolving to Umbreon early, I suppose. Al, thanks for the 4 years. Appreciate the Prime. Welcome back. Also punished for putting the energy on this early as opposed to Darkrai. Dodge a Celesteela, we can dodge a ball. I guess we'll die. So what's the game plan here? I think it's hit the Celesteela, and then the Nihilego knocks us out, and then this clears this. Well, that means they can't play Pokemon Center Lady this turn. Umbreon EX has built-in Cyrus on its ability here, for those that don't recall. This is their second point. They got a Cleffa and then a baby Umbreon here for 2 1-pointers. We might be good here on the back of Dark Chase, gamers. Come to Papa. It's just a nibble, I swear. And then with the X speed draw, Tempo Sabrina doesn't even get them out of this, which is nice. Every bit of the Umbreon Buffalo coming together here to take them down. The lockout attack on the baby, and then the Dark Chase it back up on the EX. Hey, Cursive Puppet, thanks for supporting directly for over 2.5 years. Glad you've enjoyed all the games. So they need like 2 capes here to live, right? Because they gotta get Celesteela above 80, and they have to get a Nihilego above 80. That is not remotely enough, gamer. We're done here. Looking pretty done. Don't need to waste time. Just take them out. Our Declan's feeling dangerously serviceable here today. Could it be a play playable Umbreon in my Pokemon pocket? Darkrai as a lead into R6 basic Pokemon deck is really unfortunate. Definitely not a great matchup for Baby Umbreon either. We top deck big Umbreon. EV bag gets us the knockout. Would be nice. Probably just dead here. Hey Jeff, just joining the stream late. Watched a bit at the start, talking about balancing and economies and sorts. In comparison to Pocket and Snap, how does Once Upon a Galaxy handle economy changes and the balance? So, is it really an apples to apples comparison? Because Once Upon a Galaxy is a drafting game as opposed to a constructed deck game. But they do balance passes. In the month or so I've been playing, they've already done one. But I also think their game feels like it has a lot of pretty competitive different things you can play, so I don't know that I would say they felt like they've needed more than one. Third Ferguson, thank you for the 28 months of support. Appreciate you dropping that prime off again. Except you, Hercules. I think Hercules is fine. I think he's a little bit of a feels bad card. But definitely not an overtuned card. And that game just doesn't have a lot of feels bad cards, so. Are we dead? Yeah, the scarf probably means we're dead, right? I can EV bag and get the knockout here, but then they pick this back up and then any support kills us. The vibes market cannot decide if it is happy or sad today, chat. It's up, down, all around. Even without the supporter, we're just up a creek here. Are the vibes in the room with us right now? Asking the real questions. Oh, starting on our one Darkrai while going first 2 games in a row is such an incredible low roll. At face value, we're only 1 in 6 to start on this. So this only happens 1 in 12, but it's actually less likely than 1 in 12 because some amount of the games where we have Darkrai to start, we should also have an additional basic with it. Or have our X speed at least this time around, but man, is that such a bad beat. Speaking of digital card game, would you play Lorcana if/when they release a digital client? I mean, I'll probably check it out. I don't know. I feel like one of the primary things dipping into Shadowverse taught me is that after 3 years of Marvel Snap, I don't know that I have it in me to like keep up with and or want to play a game that's balanced like a paper card game is balanced. Part of the reason why Pocket's appealing, despite saying that, is Pocket has the 4-week release cycle for new cards. So even though this game doesn't do live balance, there's a steady enough stream of new content that it really doesn't become particularly stale. There's like maybe 1 week out of every 4 where you're like, yeah, I'll probably go do something else instead. But I feel like we get a pretty solid 2 to 3 weeks out of every 4 weeks where like things are relatively interesting and reasonable to poke at. And I think that's a pretty reasonable rate. Yeah, for as much as people complain about Pocket's release cycle from an economy perspective, from a does it make the game more interesting and fun to play if you ignore the economy component, the answer is absolutely. I know, like, it's a super privileged position, obviously, to be like, I can ignore the economy component, but I would play significantly less of this game, and I don't know that I'd still be playing it if there weren't card releases every 4 weeks. I think I probably would have taken my break and not come back. Looked again. I had a couple of promising games to start. I took a break and didn't come back into a play. I don't know. I mean, like, obviously you should always chase your joy, but like, to give credit where credit is due, I actually think from a returning player perspective, Pokemon Pocket's economy is actually set up in a really good way. Like, the pain points in Pocket's economy are basically wholly related to acquiring just the newest set because you can't treat it. From you took a 2-month or 3-month or even like a year break or whatever, and you want to come back later, like, you can show up and probably find any number of Discord servers out there where like you can find people that will trade you the missing staples from the time where you're away, and then financially you only have to worry about whatever the newest card pack is, because you can't trade for that one. And then I also practiced what I preached, and like, while I was on a break from playing Pokemon Pocket, I still logged in and opened my booster packs almost every day, because like, the upkeep cost of keeping up with Pokemon Pocket when you're not playing is like less than 60 seconds, which is again a really good design thing from a design standpoint. Games like Marvel Snap and Magic Arena and Hearthstone, like, if you want to take a break from them, you get no resources while you're on your break, and then it's really difficult to catch back up afterwards. And credit where credit is due, Pocket has designed its economy in a way where that's not something that happens here if you put in 30 seconds a day. I think they made a very good choice when they made it so it's mostly trivial for players to keep up. Sephiroth, thank you for the 28 months. Appreciate that. Welcome back. Oh, sweet. I was missing my the Umbreon I wanted. Maybe we'll draw it. Yeah, I have a redraw at least. It's not the droid I'm looking for. It's then a basic out of my deck and then take 2 hits. Yikes. I'm gonna put a cape on this EV because I want to get it above a 100 breakpoint. Or a 50 breakpoint, and then we'll phone a friend here. Sorry, there's our EX Umbreon. The question is it too little too late? They have their Macargo, they might run us down. Yep. Uzma. Alright, they can win the game this turn. Oh, we're halfway there. Oh, Eevee and a prayer, darkness fang will make it, I swear. My cargo is going down the stairs. Don't you dare! Don't you dare! All right, need you to swing and miss. Leave that Eevee alone. No! It's extra sad too, because if we would have drawn the baby Umbreon, we could have made it so they'd only get 1 point from that. Unlucky, chap. Lucas, not a Lucas Cage in sight. I'm not playing a third game in 4 games, Riley on Darkrai. That's just fucking absurd. They're at 1450 points anyways. Take a mulligan here. We were going first that time, I guess, but man, is that unlucky. Should pull out the Hyper Geo on the ad break and calculate what the odds of that are. That's what, 1 in 6 is 16% for it to happen once, and then to also not have any others. There's my baby. Look at how cute it is. I'm gonna vibe on the keep for now, because if they're a Charizard deck, I might want to put it on a Darkrai. They could be a Charizard. They could also be the Flareon build too. Eevee Fire Energy has 2 different decks, neither of which are top tier, but they exist. Alright, confirmed Flareon. Sure. Dig in here. Am I giving up? Am I giving up an energy to draw another card? I don't think so. I think I'm just gonna go ahead and bite him here. I'm gonna leave my last bench slot open for a Darkrai. My hand's a little full though. The old red card's gonna be a little annoying. Hey Jeff, I generally agree with your point about red card and Mars, but wouldn't it make sense if my opponent's hand had 8 or 9 cards total in it if we narrow it down to 3-2-1s to handicap their range of boost? So this hand's actually a really good example of why that logic doesn't actually track. So my hand's really big, so like a red card is like kind of eye roll inducing, but also the reason why my hand is really big right now is because I'm missing important cards that I would like to have. So like, my hand only has 6 cards in it because I'm missing Darkrai for the last spot on my bench, and I was missing Baby Umbreon for another card that I could have evolved into last turn. So in this, and this is really common in Pocket in general, where when your opponent has a lot of cards in their hand, they often have that large number of cards because their hand is bricked in some way, shape, or form. So, yes, from a pure, are they less likely to have a specific thing when you reduce the number of cards in their hand? That is absolutely true. However, from a, well, what's the context on why my opponent's hand is big? It can still be helpful when you take your opponent from 5 or 6 cards or 7 cards or whatever down to 3, because Pocket's a game where the right cards are a lot more important than having more cards. And not always, but generally speaking, when they have a lot of cards, it's because they're missing the right cards. Oh, do they have a red and an Eevee bag? do. Are we cooked? I think we're cooked. Maybe I should have put the cape up front. Probably should have put the cape up front to play around that. I think we just die at this point. I'm always curious about questions like that when people are like, well, wouldn't their effect be better if they did this thing that was obviously better? Yes, the card would be better if it had a better text box. I genuinely don't know like what I'm supposed to say to respond to those type of comments. It's like, yes, you are correct. If the text was better, the card would be better. Think they have X speed or Leaf to pull this Eevee out? Oh, they're just gonna bite me? Oh, I guess they don't need it, right? Because they bite me this turn, and then next turn they can ramp up to here. Yeah, my cape in the wrong spot lost me this game. All right. It's 12. It's 12:15. We're gonna play some more of this Eevee deck, or this Umbreon deck later this week. We had a few reasonable ones in there, and I feel like a few of our losses were a mixture of me making mistakes and getting bricked on the Darkrai in the opener, but we're gonna kick right over to Snap-In for some afternoon. We got some viewer decks queued up from that. And honestly, we were talking about deck building and variety in card games. I think it's such a testament to how deep Snap's card pool and deck building are that, like, how many viewer decks consistently we get for that game. Snap is the only game I've ever made content for from a card game perspective where I get as many viewer decks as we did for Magic the Gathering's modern format at its peak. And like, as a comparison, Modern's card pool had like, what? A decade and a half worth of cards in it. So for Snap to be able to do that with its small amount is, yeah, it's one of the best deck building games for sure. Hey, Cardikia, thank you for the membership on the YouTube side. I appreciate that. If you're looking for more Pocket content from me, there was a Metal highlight that went up on the Hooglandia Pocket YouTube channel for this morning. Tomorrow morning, keep an eye out up there. We're going to have a Best Decks Meta report going up talking about how the Suicune deck is actually a little bit overrated by the numbers we have from the tournament meta. And then we'll be back with more live Pocket. I think Wednesday morning is the plan. If you're watching on the YouTube side, you want to watch some Marvel Snap, you'll need to kick over to the Jeff Hoogland channel on Twitch. I'm going to tap an ad and hang tight. We'll be snapping here momentarily.